Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Okay,
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Let's start. This is going to be the first time in 14 years people have heard your story. But before we get into the details, can you give us a little background on you, where you grew up, what your interests were, and how you eventually met your ex-husband who would become your co-defendant?
Okay, so I grew up in Virginia, and I also grew up in Los Angeles, California. My parents had a rocky marriage, and when they separated, I lived in California with my mother for a while. And when I came back to Virginia, I met Mr. Berry, and we decided to get married because my child that I had at the time, he was from a previous relationship that I had that was, it's hard for me to talk about. It was a domestic violence relationship, and he didn't want my son. So when I met Josh was a friend, we decided to get married to keep my son safe. And then from there, the domestic violence got even worse in that relationship than it did my prior.
Okay, now you've been, very open about your relationship and the abuse and the violence.
Yeah.
How did that affect your decision making on that day of the actual crime?
Well, I was very young at the time, and when you're in a relationship like that, it tends to guide you and act in ways that you would never. My relationship with Mr. Berry was very detrimental to my mental health. He was physically and emotionally abusive. Things between us escalated. I actually dropped assault and battery charges against him to keep him from going to prison the first time. Making those decisions altered my entire life.
Let's talk about the morning of the crime. When you woke up, what was going on? Give us some background on that day. When you woke up, what transpired?
Well, waking up every day in a marriage to somebody that's abusive is a nightmare within itself. So I had a complete meltdown. I had previously tried to take my own life to get away from him. The events that led up to the crime that I'm in prison for now were robberies and, trying to keep myself from being hurt. Waking up knowing every day is a nightmare. It's a lot. It's a lot to be in. We went to North Carolina, and the two went in, and they were attempted to rob the store. And when they attempted to rob the store, the clerk shot my co-defendant, and my co-defendant shot back and killed him.
All right, let's start there. Let's take a look. Okay, so you pull up to the crime scene. Tell us where you were. What kind of discussions you were having with your co-defendants, and give us some more detail on what happened at that point on when you pull up to the crime scene. What happened?
I was actually across the street from the crime scene, and they went in, they robbed the store, or attempted to rob the store. Nothing was actually taken, and the discussions between us, I never had any decision making in a lot of situations. my co-defendant he controlled a lot of my life. And so when he went into the store, the convenience store, him and my co-defendant came out bloody. So I really don't know what discussions they had prior, other than just going in.
Okay, so they come out of the store. Let's take it from there. They come out of the store. Where did you guys go? What was going through your mind? Okay, at this point, you knew something went horribly wrong. What was going through your mind? What were you thinking you needed to do?
I needed to get help. So I took them to a nearby hospital, and neither one of them would get out.
So you took them to the hospital, and why wouldn't they go in? What were they afraid of?
They were afraid of going to prison. And my co-defendant was shot, and he was bleeding all over the place, and I tried to get help.
Then what happened?
When my co-defendant asked me to drive to West Virginia, I drove him to West Virginia, and they put him at a place that my co-defendant's mother stayed, Mr. Foster, and Mr. Foster's mother and brother decided that he needed to go to the hospital, just like I had previously stated, and we took him.
So he did eventually went to the hospital.
Yes, sir.
And what happened in the hospital?
Well, the hospital told him immediately to go to Roanoke. From West Virginia, they flew him to emergency surgery, and there were tons of people there. My co-defendant was watching me closely, like I never got to leave his side.
And was he watching you out of fear of what was transpiring?
Yes.
So he was afraid you would do what you needed to do and tell people what happened.
Yes.
When did the actual police, from there, when did the actual authorities get involved?
The police were immediately involved, and they were asking questions. We were told to tell the cops that he was shot in a basketball game.
So the police at that time weren't aware actually what happened. They had told them a story that they were at a basketball game and got into a fight and got shot. Is that what their story was?
Yes, sir.
And now what's going through your mind?
That they're going to get away with it.
Wow.
That they're going to get away with a lot of things.
When did the actual arrests happen? When did they figure out that what was actually happening?
So after we went to Roanoke, after he was misled to Roanoke, the police came and they interviewed a bunch of people. His mother, Mr. Foster's mother, then spoke with the police and told the police as much as she knew. And then the arrest warrants were sent out.
And at this point, when they told the police as much as they knew, and you were there present with them, right?
And we had actually left the hospital.
Okay. Were there any attorneys involved, or did anybody ask for an attorney at that point?
No, sir, not that I know of. I know that his story had changed multiple times.
Now, before the actual crime, let me just kind of back up a second. Before the actual crime, did you ever reach out for help about your relationship with your ex-husband?
Yes, sir. I reached out several times. The first time was with a domestic violence advocate. The second time was with the Mercer County Sheriff's Office. and the Tazewell County Police Department.
And what was the response, and what did they offer anything? Did they help you at all?
Tazewell County Sheriff's Office told me that the gun that was stolen was marital property and that there was nothing I could do about it. At the time, he was a felon in possession of the firearm, and I explained that to them, and they told me there was nothing I could do. They couldn't even file a report. And in West Virginia, in Mercer County Sheriff's Office, they took it as frivolous. I thought it was a minute thing, and I told them that they weren't going to do anything until someone got hurt, and that's exactly what they did.
So they told you they would offer you nothing, no help, until somebody was actually hurt.
Yeah, there was nothing. Drug dealing is not really a big deal to a lot of people there, and felons in possession of firearms, I guess, are common.
Okay, from now, when the police got involved and you were arrested, take us from there.
So, the day that I was arrested was 25. It's the 25th of May, and I was arrested actually in a Walmart parking lot. I had received text messages from a police officer friend of mine that stated that there was balloons out for my arrest. And so when I was arrested, they surrounded me in the parking lot, talked to me about what I was being held for, and they said that there was a warrant out for my arrest for I can't even remember, felony fugitive warrant for robbery. And I then asked to speak with someone if I was actually under arrest, and they told me they were waiting for the warrant to come through. And when the warrant came through, they detained me. I voluntarily told them that I would go in. So I went in with them myself. I did it out of a fight or anything.
Okay, so let's recap this for a second. So the day of the day of the crime, you got up, you drove to the crime scene. You never entered the building. You were parked across the street. Your two co-defendants went in, and they committed the crime.
Yes, sir.
And then you left and drove them, and eventually ended up in the hospital.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you went into custody, did you ask for an attorney? Did they start questioning you? Kind of, as soon as they took you in for the warrant they issued. Take us from there.
So when they arrested me and took me in for the felony fugitive warrant, I immediately asked to call my father. I talked to my father. I asked for an attorney, and they still kept questioning me, asking me, what happened, what's going on. The courthouse, or the actual sheriff's office that I went to, was one that I was familiar with. People there knew me because I fought fires in the area. So I was familiar with a lot of the sheriff's office personnel. When I went up to my cell, they removed me from general population and put me in maximum security. They called me down and talked to me and questioned me. They were threatening me with my children. They asked me, is there anything that I could tell them that would help my case? It was very inappropriate.
Had your rights been read to you yet?
Yes.
Okay. And when they continue, after you asked for the attorney, they continued to question you. what was your response initially? Did you say, I need my attorney? What did you say to him when you asked for an attorney and they kept questioning you? Tell us what happened there.
They said that we were on the same side of the law, that anything that I could say could help me, that, you know, I needed to help them for them to help me. I understood how it was played out because I had been involved in first responding for a very long time. So I knew the good cop, bad cop situation. I also knew that I needed to speak to my attorney first before I said anything that could potentially be misconstrued.
And how long was it before they actually provided you with legal counsel?
I didn't see an attorney until I went to North Carolina. It was a while.
Approximately how long was that?
Gosh, about four months into it.
4 months?
Yes. I was under arrest in Virginia. Virginia extradited me to North Carolina. And then in North Carolina, I sat there for a while.
When they did provide you the attorney, take us from there.
So the attorney that I received in North Carolina, he actually was prosecuted later on for embezzling money from the government. He became a prosecuting attorney. He came in, talked to me. He told me that I was going to prison for a very long time, that they were going to seek lethal injection against me. He threatened me.
Excuse me for 1 second. I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
He threatened me with, that he told me that they were going to seek the death penalty against me.
And what was your response to that?
I was very upset. I was thinking of my 2 kids and where they would live. I thought about everything that could have been different. I thought about, situations that I was in with my codependent that I could have let him party.
At that point, what was going through your mind? Do you think you were getting proper legal representation at that point?
No, sir.
Did you ask for a different attorney, or so you had not yet been in front of a judge? You had not. Yes. Did you try to ask for different counsel? Take us through that, because this is very disturbing.
I actually didn't see a judge until about 2 years into my incarceration in the county facility. I saw a judge briefly. I pretty much just sat in county for a very long time without a court date. Every court date that they said that I had came and just left.
What was what reason did they give you for not getting you in front of the judge? What did your attorney tell you?
My attorney didn't tell me much. He just stated that they were waiting for me to talk to them, that they were going to keep me in my I think.
Your attorney told you that they wouldn't get you in front of the judge because they wanted you to talk to who?
Prosecutors.
Isn't that what your attorney was supposed to be doing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so at this point, now you've had a little bit of time to be thinking about this. Did you try to get another attorney? Did you think, now they're threatening me with the lethal injection, the death penalty, I wasn't on the crime scene, I wasn't in the building. I was sitting across the street. At this point, where was your mind?
Well, when I was thinking about everything, I waited until my attorney actually left my case to become prosecuting attorney in a different county. And so they gave me a different attorney, and he has actually passed away since my court case. But when I received him, I immediately didn't like the fact that him and my federal attorney, my state attorney and my federal attorney talked without me being present. They were speaking about my case, and I was very confused. I was very confused about the entire situation. At the time I told them both that, talking about my case to one another, because state and federal are two separate sovereign governments, and the two, even though they were similar and they were based off the same conduct, they were two different courtrooms.
Okay, so now you're in for a substantial amount of time.
Sir.
You don't feel like you're being represented properly.
No, sir.
The first time in front of the judge, go through that with us.
The first time in front of the judge in North Carolina, had briefly went in. They asked me if I wanted a speedy trial. My attorney advised me against it. I waived my rights to a speedy trial, and so I sat. The second time in front of the judge was to be released into federal custody.
And so you're released into federal custody, then go to take us, what transpired from that?
So when the federal authorities came down to talk to me about indicting me, they wanted me to waive my rights to being in state versus federal. They wanted me to talk about my case to them. They wanted me to talk about the details and everything that I know. So they offered to take the lethal injection off the table for me.
Did you ever tell your attorney that you weren't happy with how he was handling your case?
Yes, sir.
And what did he say?
He filed a motion to withdraw from my case, and we were taken in front of a federal judge together.
And then what happened?
He told me that he could help me on the case, that he was doing everything that he could. Correspondence from me and my attorney was very limited. He contacted me very little when it came to fighting my case, so I wasn't at all pleased.
Okay, there's an enormous amount of things to unwrap there. Now, you accepted a plea deal.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that.
So my plea deal was actually sent to me through the mail, and they asked me to sign the plea agreement and give it back to them by a certain date. And so the plea was actually faxed into the courthouse. It was through a facsimile.
And when your attorney presented the plea deal to you, what was his response about what they were offering, and what was your response to what they were offering?
My attorney actually didn't read me the plea deal. It was associates from his firm that read the plea agreement to me. It was two associates from their firm.
At that point, did you ask to speak directly to your attorney instead of an associate?
Yes, and they said they all work together.
So your attorney
Actually listed on my plea agreement.
So your attorney you had been dealing with refused to meet with you about the plea.
I don't know if he refused but he definitely didn't show up to talk to me about it. What it actually says was, no two associate attorneys in Mr. Freeman's office explained this agreement to Ms. Berry, but Mr. Freeman and I explained the summary of the agreement to her, and it was signed.
And
Verbatim.
when they explained the plea agreement, what was their response about what the prosecution was offering, and what did you say about what the plea agreement contained?
I had been in prison for almost 4 years, and he told me that they were offering me a minimum of 10, and at the max they would offer me is 240 months.
I'm sorry, was what?
Was a maximum of 240 months. He also stated that he actually gave me an email thread between him and the prosecuting attorney. And the prosecuting attorney told him that this was the best vehicle for me to come out with my life intact, and that a very rough estimate for me would be 24